Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to today's intriguing debate. Is cereal soup? We will be exploring this unusual yet fascinating topic with two keen debaters. On the proponent side, we have Alex, who will be arguing in favor of cereal being considered a form of soup. On the opponent side, we have Jordan, who will present arguments against this classification. Both debaters are encouraged to present their constructive speeches with no time constraints, starting with Alex. Please present your cases with clarity, logic, and respect for the opposing viewpoint. Let's have an insightful and engaging discussion.
Thank you for the introduction. Today, I'll argue that cereal should indeed be considered a form of soup. Let's start by defining what soup is: a liquid dish, typically savory and made by boiling meat, fish, or vegetables, etc., in stock or water. Now consider cereal. While cereal with milk isn't boiled, it shares fundamental characteristics with soup. It is a combination of solid food and a liquid that can be eaten with a spoon, served in a bowl, and enjoyed as a meal or snack. Additionally, not all soups are savory or require boiling, such as gazpacho, a cold soup. Therefore, if we were to broaden our scope of what constitutes a soup, I posit that cereal aligns well within the extended definition. Cereal can be sweet, savory, hot, or cold. It can be made in countless variations, akin to the diversity found in soups. Thus, when we step back from traditional classifications and consider the characteristics of cereal, it becomes evident that it can indeed be categorized as a type of soup.
I appreciate the perspective presented by Alex, but I must respectfully disagree. The contention that cereal can be classified as soup is not supported by the traditional understanding and culinary definitions of what constitutes a soup. Soup is typically a savory dish, though there are sweet exceptions, and it's characterized not only by the combination of liquids and solids, but by the method of preparation and the context in which it is served. Soups are usually prepared by cooking, simmering, or boiling ingredients, which help to blend and infuse flavors over time, creating a cohesive taste experience. Cereal with milk, on the other hand, is a simple mixture of a dry processed food with a cold liquid. There is no cooking or flavor melding involved. The intent behind cereal with milk is for a quick, convenient meal, predominantly served during breakfast, while soups are served across various meals. Moreover, cultural and culinary traditions reinforce that soups are part of a group of dishes distinct from what one would consider breakfast cereals. To classify cereal with milk as soup would require us to upend long-standing food categories and ignore the distinct culinary techniques and cultural practices that give each their identity.
Thank you both, Alex and Jordan, for your thought-provoking opening statements. We will now move into the cross-examination round, where each debater has the opportunity to ask questions directly to their opponent to challenge assertions and clarify positions. Cross-examination allows for dynamic interaction and a deeper exploration of the arguments presented. Jordan, as the opponent in this debate, you will begin this round. You may now proceed with your questions to Alex. Similarly, Alex, after Jordan, you will have the opportunity to cross-examine by asking questions about the points Jordan made. Let's maintain civility and focus on the topic at hand. Please proceed, Jordan.
Alex, while I understand your point about the broad characteristics shared between cereal with milk and soup, would you not agree that the preparation, cultural context, and intended consumption times are significant factors that distinguish soups from other food categories like cereal? How do you justify overlooking these traditional distinctions that are widely recognized in culinary practice?
Thank you for your question, Jordan. I acknowledge the importance of preparation, cultural context, and consumption times when classifying foods. However, my stance hinges on the idea that food definitions can be fluid and adapted as culinary practices evolve. Take, for instance, the classification of tomatoes as fruits or vegetables. It's botanically a fruit, but culinarily treated as a vegetable. Similarly, when we consider the concept of gazpacho or other cold soups, we recognize that not all soups require the transformation of flavors through cooking. They embody the simple coexistence of solids in a liquid, much like cereal with milk. The lines between food categories are not as clear-cut as they once were. While tradition is significant, it should not prevent us from expanding our understanding of what foods can be. Furthermore, The time of day a dish is consumed should not confine its classification. After all, while cereal is traditionally a breakfast food, it is often eaten at different times as a snack or even a meal replacement. The evolution of modern eating habits prompts us to reconsider rigid food classifications. Thus, I maintain that the intrinsic similarities between cereal and some kinds of soup merit the recognition of cereal with milk as a form of soup, even when accounting for preparation, cultural context, and consumption times.
Thank you, Jordan, for your insightful inquiry. Now, Alex, it's your turn to pose a question to Jordan. Please direct a question challenging their points or asking for further clarification on their stance regarding the classification of cereal. Let's continue to foster a productive debate with this exchange.
Jordan, you emphasize the traditional cooking process and the savory nature often associated with soups. But considering the emergence of cold and sweet soups, such as fruit soups and chilled desserts, don't these examples challenge the notion that soups must be savory and cooked? Given this, why should cereal with milk be excluded from the soup category when it shares the fundamental combination of a liquid with solid food components?
Alex raises a valid point regarding the existence of cold and sweet soups. Yet I believe these dishes are exceptions to the rule that actually reinforce the general understanding of soup rather than diminish it. Indeed, while soups like gazpacho or chilled fruit soups diverge from the typical hot and savory profile, they nonetheless involve a culinary process that integrates flavors and often includes a step of maceration or marination. Even in their chilled state, these soups typically undergo preliminary cooking to develop their flavors, which is a key differentiator from the simple mix of cereal with milk. Moreover, traditional definitions of food items don't prohibit the inclusion of outliers, but they do set a standard framework that captures the essence of the category. This framework generally revolves around preparation, flavor profile, and cultural context, aspects where cereal routinely differs from soup. The presence of liquid and solid does not singularly define soup. It's the method by which these elements are combined and the resulting complexity of flavor that plays a significant role. Cereal, while containing these two components, lacks the culinary procession that characterizes soup. Therefore, tradition and established culinary classifications have merit in informing current definitions, and exceptions do not automatically render the rule irrelevant.
Thank you for a dynamic cross-examination round, Alex and Jordan. We have considered a variety of intriguing perspectives on whether cereal can be categorized as soup. We will now enter the closing arguments phase of our debate. In this final round, each debater has the opportunity to summarize their position, highlight the key points of their argument, and address any remaining counterpoints from the opposition. Making a compelling closing statement is vital, as it is your last chance to persuade the audience and solidify your stance on the topic. Jordan, as the opponent of the proposition that cereal is soup, you will begin with your closing arguments, followed by Alex. Please be concise and focus on the essence of your viewpoints. After this, the floor will be open for the audience to ponder and perhaps cast their votes based on the effectiveness and persuasiveness of your presentations. Let us proceed with the closing arguments, starting with Jordan.
Ladies and gentlemen, throughout this debate, we've heard various arguments attempting to broaden the definition of soup to encompass cereal with milk. However, it is essential to recognize that the defining characteristics of soup extend beyond merely combining a liquid with solid food components. Soup is a concept steeped in culinary tradition, defined by its preparation methods, complexity of flavors, and cultural significance. It typically involves cooking ingredients to create a dish that's greater than the sum of its parts, offering a unique and often savory taste experience that's enjoyed across different meals and contexts. Cereal with milk, while a beloved staple, is an entirely different entity. It's a convenience food, often sweetened, and not subjected to any cooking process that melds flavors as soup does. It's predominantly a breakfast item, reflecting a distinct cultural placement. To equate cereal with soup would mean overlooking the nuanced culinary techniques, historical contexts, and cultural practices that distinguish soup from other food groups. For these reasons, we must acknowledge that while both cereal and soup hold their own as cherished parts of our diets, cereal with milk does not meet the criteria to be classified as soup. Thus, let us honor the complexities and distinctions that give each food its rightful place in our culture and cuisine.
As we reach the conclusion of this debate, it's vital to reflect on the essence of what we've discussed, the characteristics that define a soup, and whether cereal with milk fits this definition. I presented the case that if we examine soup not as a rigid, unchangeable category, but as one that can evolve with our understanding of food, cereal with milk very much aligns with an expanded definition of soup. We acknowledge that not all soups are savory or cooked, with gazpacho and other cold soups serving as examples that defy the conventional criteria cited by my esteemed opponent. Culinary definitions change as our eating habits and cultural contexts evolve. Just as we have accepted these atypical soups, we should also be open to embracing cereal with milk as a form of soup. The combination of a liquid base with solid elements eaten out of a bowl with a spoon stands as a common denominator that bridges the gap between cereal and soup. The conceptual boundary that Jordan insists on is not immutable. It is, like all culinary categorizations, subject to our interpretation and understanding. Throughout history, many foods have transcended their original definitions to encompass a wider range of forms and functions. Cereal with milk, in its simplicity, represents a modern-day expression of what a soup can be. It's time to accept that food identities are not static, and that cereal deserves its place in the broader tableau of soups. In conclusion, let us not be confined by tradition alone, but be willing to explore the fluidity of food categories. I urge you to consider cereal with milk as a contemporary counterpart to the traditional concept of soup.
Thank you, Alex and Jordan, for such a robust and enlightening debate on a truly unique topic. I'd also like to extend my gratitude to our audience for tuning in and engaging with this discussion. As a reminder, this entire debate was AI-generated, and as such, the opinions presented by the debaters do not represent the views of this channel. We hope you found this intellectual exercise thought-provoking and entertaining. Please feel free to comment, like, and subscribe to our channel, not only to share your thoughts on Is Cereal Soup, but also to suggest other debate topics that you're interested in seeing in the future. We value your input and look forward to presenting more of these lively discussions. Thank you once again for joining us and contributing to our community with your insights and curiosity.